Welcome to the Aesthetic Doctor Podcast. We don't shy away and keep secrets here. We empower you with education, telling you the truth about all things aesthetic medicine while encouraging you to be the best version of yourself. It's time to look great and feel good doing it. This is your host, mom, speaker, and board-certified physician, Dr. Judith Borger.
Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 85 of the Aesthetic Doctor Podcast. This is Dr. Borger, and it is so lovely to have you all back and listening to this podcast. I just got back from my retreat at the Miraval. It was a women's empowerment and leadership retreat, and let me tell you, it was incredible. This has been a dream of mine, a vision. And just manifesting it into reality was everything. The feeling is just so overwhelming to have the vision, to then manifest and do the action behind the vision, right? Because manifesting, in my opinion, is not just sitting there and sort of praying kumbaya. It's really about taking aligned action to make your dreams a reality. But we should do an episode on manifesting. We'll do some in the future. But anyway, I really manifested this. I created this. And then to be part of this version of it and the magnificence and the transformation. And we had 16 women there and some facilitators, and just to see the friendship, the connection, the transformation, the healing, the laughter, the joy, just how much everything changed from day one to the last day. And it was just wellness and love and positive self-image and everything on the last day. We created powerful affirmations, and it was just magic, beyond magic. So if you're interested in coming on one of my retreats, we've just released the early bird for next year's retreat. So if you go onto my website, theaestheticdoctor.com, there is going to be a tab for retreats. If you go on my Instagram, in my bio, there is a link to next year's retreat. It is fabulous. It's worth it. You can prioritize yourself, and it was so complete by the end. I have some of the US and Canada really's leading coaches coaching alongside me. So we had the incredible Maggie Reyes, who led this just most impact in our child workshop. Jess Holtzworth, who's a really internationally known manifestation expert, did a workshop on manifestation. We had Little Superman doing a Living Your Richest Life workshop. Relitza Spasova did a workshop on embodying your divine feminine. I did heart healing. I did some intentional time management. I did some sort of self-image building where we did the affirmations. We did spiritual drumming. It just was incredible. And then throw that in the Miraval vortex of luxury, healing, and well-being. Because really, if I held a setting like that and it was in a boring, bland conference room at your local Marriott, it was not as impactful. So just the fact also that is at the Miraval, which is my favorite place in the world, there are 3 Miraval resorts currently, and they really just are all about relaxing your nervous system, spoiling you, helping you heal, helping you grow, helping you transform, and really helping you find back to yourself. And it was just the perfect setting. I am glowing and I'm just vibrating with the goodness of all that happened. So if it's something that you're at all ever thought you needed, like, this is only happening next year, the next one. So there is plenty of time for you to plan for it, to take the time off, to figure out what to do with your dogs and kids, to save for it. And it is so worth it. I swear, like, the return on your life, the return on your well-being, the return on your marriage, the return on your parenting, the return on your career, the return really on yourself is magnifold what you're ever going to spend. So that is sort of my update. And that gets me to what I'm going to talk about today. So while at the Miraval, after the retreat, because as the retreat host and the retreat leader, I spend the time that we host these retreats really holding space for everybody, helping facilitate, building connections, also running stuff behind the scenes so that everybody has a seamless experience. So I took 2 days for myself after to do just my own relaxation, my own healing, my own also reflection on what just happened and celebration. It was like the greatest thing that I could have done. I learned that from our last retreat when I didn't do that. And anyway, during those 2 extra days that I was there, one of the things that I did is something called a past life regression. I don't know if any of you have heard of past life regressions, but basically, past life regressions are a type of spiritual or metaphysical practice where basically a person, which was me, is guided by a trained facilitator, hypnotherapist in a deeply relaxed trance-like state. And what you do is you access memories or experiences that are believed to be from previous lifetimes. Now, I had done this once before, and it was an incredible journey that I had before through one of my past lives. And I really learned a lot about love and relationships and what's important to me. And so I decided to do it again. The Miraval also has some of the most world-class known facilitators. And the one that I did it with is the same one I did it before, which is a, intuitive called Jessie Ray, who's a healer, hypnotherapist. She's just amazing. So, I was going to tell you the story about my past life regression. Let me first tell you sort of what happens during a past life regression. Again, just so you know more about it. So, basically, you're guided into a deeply relaxed or hypnotic state during the induction phase. And then, once you're in the state of deep relaxation, hypnosis, or your subconscious, you're prompted to visualize scenes, feelings, experiences with an open-ended guidance. And then sometimes there's exploration, like exploring the time period, environment, relationships, challenges. And then after you come back, there is a period of sort of integration where as a group, you discuss what you saw, how it might relate to current life patterns, fears, talents, or relationships. And I kind of really like this approach because when I guide people through heart healing, that is also in the subconscious. So I know how much our subconscious holds. And I guide people through subconscious healing. And of course, as a practitioner of everything, you don't just always want to be the practitioner. So I do have my own heart healing coach. I do my own healing sessions with her. And so this is just another way of like subconscious exploration. Now, you might say, why on earth would you want to do a past life regressions? And really, what it helps you do is you gain self-awareness, right? So sometimes by looking at what is believed your past life by your subconscious or past experiences, you can understand emotional patterns, relationship dynamics, or some unexplained fears. It also can help in healing because sometimes you can access and process past traumas that can help you release them in this lifetime. Sometimes people are curious, and then people that go through things like soul journeys and believe in karma and reincarnation, past life regression can really help with their spiritual journey. Now, again, before I tell you my story, and I know I'm putting it off, one of the things that I gotta say is that obviously science, there is no real empiric proof of past lives. However, psychology does kind of say that even if the memories aren't real, the effects can be very, very real, and there can be very good therapeutic effects. It can be very cathartic, like people release emotional pain, deep pain, or trauma during the sessions. People can get insight. So those stories from past lives can emerge and mirror real life conflicts, real life patterns, or bring clarity or healing. And then some people also say in psychology that this could really like be symbolic healing, that because the subconscious uses metaphors and imageries, these past life experiences may simply be a way that the mind brings up what needs to be healed. So past lives can be very psychologically and spiritually useful. Now, there is some researchers who have studied children that have claimed to remember past lives. There's documented cases with striking details. And then there is this very popular book by Brian Weiss, a former Yale-trained psychiatrist, that is called Many Lives, Many Masters. And so the scientific view is really that there's no hard evidence, even though there are some anecdotal works that say that, like, look, this person could recount with striking detail something that happened that they could not have known. However, you guys know I'm a scientist, and yet I'm so woo, okay? I think I kind of take the psychological view that subconscious past life regressions can be an incredible, powerful tool for healing, for insight, and for self-awareness, because you do get things out of your subconscious, and we know the subconscious likes to bury. We know lots of things live in the subconscious, and it can be very powerful for people to access past lives. So I did this past life regression with Jessie Ray, and as I said, I had done it before. Last time I had this beautiful, very traditional experience, and I drew away that love is the ultimate thing, and that I'm loved, I'm surrounded by love, and all of that stuff. Well, so I did it again, and I gotta say, there's a little bit of my ego, I think, that came into play. I'm gonna be really honest. Seeing that I guide people through subconscious work, I was sort of expecting to have this incredible past life regression and maybe reincarnate one of the goddesses that I'm from, or I don't know, have something really, really profound happen. Well, so we do this past life regression, and I'm going to the subconscious, and I first couldn't figure out what it was, but I knew it was something, and I knew it wasn't human, and then I figured out I was a frickin' tree. Okay, a frickin' tree, guys. I did not want to be a tree. I was like, why am I a tree? I don't want to be a tree. And then at first, nothing happens, because a tree is just a tree. And so I spent my lifetime in this past life regression being a frickin' tree. Just standing there, growing incredibly slowly, and being a tree. Yes, I was a tree, a big tree. And I'm going to say there was a point where it was really, really cool to be a tree, because I could feel the branches growing. I could feel the leaves sprouting. I could feel myself getting taller. And I was just in the forest. And people came and went, and seasons came and went, and birds and everything came and went. And here I was with my other little tree friends. So here I was being a tree. And it actually ended up super duper cool. Even though initially I hated being a tree. And a lot of these guidance that you get during these sessions didn't apply, because here I was just being a tree. And after a while, I kind of really started enjoying myself being a tree after my subconscious, that ego crept in, because, I had enough sort of resistance that I work a lot in the subconscious, that even in the subconscious, there was this part of me who was like, frickin' I don't want to be a tree. But then once I just let myself be a tree, it was super cool to be a tree. And I'm closing my eyes right now and I can just feel myself again being a tree. I was just there and I had my tree friends and I was big and I was in a forest and my leaves grew and my branches grew and time passed differently. So here I was being a tree, and I'm just going to give you my lessons from being a tree. So number one was really this whole idea of like a tree is not lonely, because I was surrounded by my tree friends. Like a tree is really like in community, and there is like you have connection with other trees and other living animals, and that trees kind of communicate with each other. So a tree is never lonely. So number one was a tree is never lonely. And then the next thing that I really, really learned that I profoundly brought back was this whole idea about how time moves different when you're a tree. Like seasons come and go, birds come and go, even the people underneath me came and went. But the lifespan of a tree is so different that time, sort of this whole human construct of time and being rushed and having to accomplish things, and it kind of moves very different when you're a tree. You just are. And that is really like was the coolest experience of all of that, was what I call the non-attachment of being a tree. Like trees just are. Tree does not care if I achieved in this lifetime. A tree does not care if the tree achieved in this lifetime. Like all these things that we're so attached to, like human attachment, like a tree does not care about. So what this lifetime of being a tree, this past life of a tree really taught me was non-attachment. Non-attachment to any of the things we really care about. The things we really worry about, a tree doesn't care about. The things we really fear, a tree doesn't care about. All these societal and human constructs, like a tree actually does not care about. So it was like this incredible experience when I reflected about non-attachment. So if there's anything you take away from this episode, other than hopefully you laugh with me about me being a freaking tree, was just this idea of like non-attachment, and the fact that a lot of the things that we spent a lot of our lives thinking about, being preoccupied with, are really like human constructs, and that being in this world and being on this universe, like if you're just being, that's not what you worry about. So that is my story about being a tree. And after I could get over the fact that I was spending my past life regression with this really famous person at this really cool place, being a tree and essentially standing in place, it was actually super duper cool to be a tree, because time moved different. It was an amazing experience to sort of just be and grow, and I felt myself grow and make leaves. Watching time difference, just being surrounded by other trees and animals, but really mostly to have this blissful, grounded, rooted non-attachment. Oh, and do you want to know how my tree life ended? Well, the whole forest got logged and chopped down. So that is how my life as a tree ended. My entire tree friends, my entire forest and I, we got logged. So here's my story about past life regression and being a tree. So first of all, if any of you have done a past life regression, I would love to hear it. Email me, DM me, reach out to me. Let me know what your past life regression was. And secondly, again, we have already launched the early bird for our next retreat. So please, please, please consider coming and joining me on one of my retreats at the Miraval, and it's going to be incredible. Until next time, sending you much love and goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Aesthetic Doctor Podcast with Dr. Judith Borger. We'd love to connect with you outside of the show. Follow Dr. Borger on Instagram at Dr. Borger and find more online and ways to work with Dr. Borger at www.theaestheticdoctor.com. Until next time, be well.